Hey guys, it's Woody. So I was reading this article on debt and people were complaining about their student loans, and I thought, you know what? I bet my subscribers would benefit from learning about debt. And this might not be the most entertaining video you've ever seen, so if you want to click away, it won't hurt my feelings. However, if you do want to stick around, I'll teach you about the three kinds of debt, like the three primary kinds of debt. And, you know, it'll probably be good for you. Maybe you'll learn something. So here's the deal. Three sorts of things. Mortgages, student loans, and unsecured debt, like credit cards. First, I'm going to talk about unsecured debt. So, credit cards, right? When you buy things with a credit card, it's typically unsecured. That means there's no collateral. When you spend it on your clothes, your food, your gasoline, your Xbox, whatever, then the credit card company is giving you a loan and you're not really have anything to offer to pay it back, right? They're taking a big risk when they give you a loan because you're typically just blowing it on random crap. That is why credit card debt is like 25%, right? It's this really big number because you're funding other people who default, right? You might be repaying your debts, but this guy next to you, he's a jackass and he bought things he couldn't afford, and that's the risk that the bank takes. So they spread it across all these people and you have to pay it back. Now, that 25% credit rate, that interest rate, that is what makes it so difficult. If you ever find yourself, behind on credit card bills, it is so hard to catch back up again because, if you've got this big chunk of debt that you have out there and you pay $1,000 off toward that, you might find that you've only knocked $200 off of how much you owe, and the other $800 went to interest. And these are like really possible numbers. It's a horrible thing. If you're like getting crushed by credit card debt, then you're in a really bad spot because it's difficult to to come out from under that. So anyway, that's unsecured debt. That's the first kind. The second kind is college loans, right? And this is mostly an American thing. I don't know a lot about global debt, but here's the deal. So you would think to yourself that there's a really high interest rate on college loans too, but there's not, right? You're lending it to people who are really risky, right? They're young, they have no credit record, you don't know what they're like. They're entering a period where they're going to be unemployed for the next 4 years and they want to run up $100,000, $200,000 worth of debt. If you're a bank, you look at this and you're like, oh my God, why would I do this? This is a terrible thing. Then here's why. In the US, they've passed laws saying that they will get paid back. Period. That's it. Those banks own you for a student loan, right? If you get burdened by credit card debt and things are really, really bad, you can go bankrupt and kind of not pay it all back or something like that. If it's a student loan, then you will pay it back. They will own your future earnings. Finish college, don't finish college, they get it. They will get the money before it hits your bank account if you don't pay it on time, just like they do with taxes, right? They suck that money out, you've never even seen it. That's how it can work with college loans too. And it might feel unfair to you. You might be saying like, oh, no, what's that all about? But on the other hand, this is unsecured debt, right? They can't take your education back. You don't have any collateral for this. For it to be worthwhile for the banks to give you a decent interest rate, something that you'll come back from, then they have to have this security by law that they can, eventually garnish your wages, which means take the money before you get it if it comes to that. You can't go bankrupt and get out of college loans. College loans own you forever. They will track you down and they will find you. And that's why the interest rate on college loans is much lower than it is on credit card. Even though you're lending it to people who might be an even bigger risk and you're lending it on something which they can't reclaim and resell, the interest rate is lower because they have that guarantee that you're going to repay it. So it might seem like drastic and unfair, but you have to realize what the world would be like if the banks weren't guaranteed to get their college loans repaid. They might be charging 50 or 70% interest because of the nature of the person that they're lending it to, really high risk. So, and then the last type of loan is a mortgage, and the mortgage is the lowest rate of all of them. And the reason for that is they have this collateral, right? If I buy a home and with a standard mortgage, you can only get 80% of the home's value. So that means they could even sell the home for less than you bought it, pay off, like if I buy the home for, I'll say 200 grand, and then we sell it for 180, well shucks, I was only able to get a loan up to 160 because that's 80%, I think I did it right. And so anyway, because of that, they get to recoup their money even if they sell the home at a loss. Now you're in, kind of in a hole because you've got less money than you started with. But from the bank's perspective, this is a really safe loan. And then historically, people pay their mortgages off before anything else, right? If you're having a hard time paying, the water bill, the electric bill, whatever, everybody always pays their mortgage. Nobody wants to lose the roof over their head. When things are getting tough, all the other services and such will stop, but they will keep paying the mortgage unless they're really truly out of money. That's historically how things go. And for that reason, the banks are able to offer really, really low rates at the mortgage because, one, they have very little risk. They can sell your house. Now, I know financial crisis about 5 years ago and stuff flips this on its head, but they can sell your house and repay that loan, and also you're the sort of person who's likely to repay, right? Once you get when you're applying for your mortgage, that you have a decent credit history built up, you've been paying off your credit cards, you've been paying off your student loans, they look at you and they say, yeah, this is the sort of guy who repays his loans, or they don't give you one. So that is the three kinds of loan that are out there. There's credit card debt, there's student loans, and there's mortgages, housing loans, and that's why the rates are set like they are. It has to do with whether or not the bank can sell that asset and get their money back, whether they can own your life and get their money back, or whether they're really at risk, which is credit cards, which is why the interest rates are so high. So really, don't take loans if you don't have to. Usually with mortgages, it's tough to avoid. With student loans, I guess it depends. If you got lucky and picked your parents right, then maybe you don't have any student loans at all. But if you're like a lot of people, then you're gonna have to take a loan and go to school or something, work while you're at school. That's what I did. And then with credit card debt, man, just be careful. Don't buy things that you can't afford, because when you find yourself burdened by credit card debt, then it's a nightmare to get out of. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good day. Alright, if you're still here, then this worked out better than I feared it would, so I'm glad you stuck around. Two videos you may have missed. The bottom one's super cool. It's a rhyme time. I did a channel update, but I did the whole thing like as a poem, and I thought it worked out well. I don't know, I amuse me. And the top one is Mail Monday from this week, so if you missed that, the Mail Monday is usually real popular, so you can check that out and do your thing. I'm coming home soon. I'm coming home actually as you watch this. I'm probably on a plane. I'll be right there, and we'll have a good time. So thanks for your support, guys.